Dr. Sue Black, it's great to be in conversation with you today. It's part of our Limitless series. Welcome.
Thanks very much, lovely to be here.
Sue, when we look at your introduction to technology, it wasn't a conventional start you had. Tell us a little bit how you got into technology and chose that as your career path.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't have a conventional background. I left school at 16 with 5 O-levels and went back into education at I think 26. Went to college and did a maths course at night school and then went to university. And so my situation then was that I'd been in a refuge for 6 months with my kids. I was now a single parent on a council estate in Brixton, thinking, how am I going to, what's my life going to be like? How am I going to bring my kids up to have the life that I want for them? And I thought about going back into the workplace, but then realised that actually I wouldn't be able to earn enough money with just 5 O-levels and not that much experience to be able to pay even for childcare for 3 children. So started thinking about education, going back into education. Then I thought, well, maybe if I can get a degree, I can earn enough money to look after the family. So thought about what I loved at school, and that was maths, really my favourite subject. Found a maths course at a local college, did that for a year, and then that gave me the qualifications to get into university, and kind of then thought, well, should I choose technology, computer science or maths? And when I thought about it, computer science has a lot of maths in it anyway, and I believed then, and I still believe now, that technology is the future. So I just thought, well, computer science, that's the one for me. So I did a degree in computing and then followed that up with a PhD in software engineering, and now I've had, something like 25 years in technology and still loving it.
That vision, that aspiration to get mums into technology, whether it's returning or as a new consideration for career, it's pioneering. You and a few other individuals are really taking on a huge task of changing the industry. And at ThoughtWorks, we pioneer for change within the revolutionise the IT industry. How can industry do more, and how can government do more? I know you sit on the advisory board there. We know that there's more jobs than there are skilled people. Yeah. How do we change that dynamic?
Well, I think, I talk to quite a lot of companies who say, well, we really want like technical women or women in tech, but we can't find them. And well, why don't you kind of think about that a bit more laterally? And so my kind of challenge to companies is to set up retraining programs. There are lots of women with ridiculous amounts of potential out there who just kind of have a bit of a gap between where they are and where they need to be to go into those tech roles. So I think companies themselves can set up retraining programs specific to the people that they want to employ. But I think also there should be kind of like wide-scale government retraining programs for everyone. There's a massive skills shortage and there are people out of work. So why don't we work hard to put together retraining programs and get those people into work?
Work harder at finding those people that we know that they're out
absolutely.
there. Great idea. And then, of course, I know that you've spoken about it's great encouraging women to get into those industries and careers, but we need to make the environment where people remain. And working hours 9 to 5, if you're supporting a family, for men and women can be a challenge. What can business do there? And I know you've been supporting and encouraging more flexibility in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, kind of like think hard about what do you actually want your employees to do? Do they have to be there from 9 to 5 all the time to do a good job? Or can you focus more on them actually delivering what you want them to deliver as part of their role? So I think that kind of like presenteeism and the sort of 9 to 5 thing, hopefully that's going away. And, I think that will help both companies and people who want to get into the workplace in improving the company in terms of you'll be able to get better people who can come in who can't necessarily work 9 to 5. And for individuals, then it offers you an opportunity to work where possibly you can't. So I think that's one thing to think about. I think another thing is for companies to think really hard about having diversity as kind of core to the company culture, to the business culture. I think that organisations that really focus on diversity and inclusion now, not as a tick box exercise, but as a serious thing with a champion at the top of the organisation who encourages people within the organisation to come up with kind of exciting and innovative ideas about how to be more inclusive, how to think about diversity, how to have diversity at the heart of the business. Those are the companies that are going to be successful in 2, 5, 10 years' time, I think, because if you're creating products and services in what's now a global marketplace, you need to think about everybody and not just certain sectors of society. And so you need your teams, you need your organisation to be very aware of diversity and inclusion, and diverse and inclusive, so that you can kind of meet that challenge.
Great call out, and it's very aligned to how ThoughtWorks works in being very diverse but also being inclusive. And it's interesting you talk about it not being a tick box exercise, and we hear lots of organisations talking about diversity and inclusion, and that's good. It has to be good. But it's they seem to be embracing the diversity part, which is good, but this is also about changing the full environment of the workplace as well. It isn't just about extending hours and flexible working, although that's really good, but it's also about how to embrace all communities. And we talked about underrepresented gender minorities as well. You touched on that earlier. It really is about creating safe spaces for unsafe conversations. Is there anything else organisations can be doing and about leadership role models and reverse mentoring and things of that nature? What have you experienced?
Well, absolutely. I mean, mentoring, I think, can really help people. The mentors that I've had have absolutely changed my life and my career in terms of, just connecting with people who are maybe 10 years down the line, sort of further into their career than you, that you look up to. Even, it was like my first mentor was Professor Wendy Hall at University of Southampton. So I met her at a talk, and I just thought, I want to be like Wendy when I grow up. So I approached her at the end of the talk and said, oh, please, will you mentor me? And she said, oh, I'd love to, but I don't have the time. And I was like, can I please have 1 hour a year? And she was like, no, how can I say no to that? So that's, and meeting up with Wendy probably for lunch sometime after that, and then probably a year later and another year later, meant that we both got to know each other. That's probably 20 years ago now. And over the years we've become friends. So we recently kind of bumped into each other almost in Singapore, had dinner together there. My life has changed dramatically from when I think I was a PhD student when I first met her. And so I think mentors are just so important, and they're kind of important at the time, but they're also important in terms of being connected to them years and years later. They become your friends, and having friends that are further on in their career than you are, that care about you, that you kind of have a rapport with, can make a massive, massive difference to your career, particularly if you've got a few of those people around you. Every time now that I've got any kind of big challenge that I'm not sure what to do about, I've got loads of people that I can approach to help me work out what is the right thing to do.
It's wonderful that you've built up that network over the years, and I know that you've been recognised as someone who gives back to industry. And I wonder what you'd say to any younger person who's embarking on the start of their career, who looks at you and will probably have imposter syndrome. I'm interviewing you today and having a conversation with someone whom I've admired in the industry, and that was daunting for me to think, I know I'm having a conversation with Dr. Sue Black today. And I know speaking with you now, but I think for the realism of that, when you see someone who has been super successful in their career and has really overcome adversity, is a great testament and a great role model. How can you encourage people or young women to get past that imposter syndrome? Because it really is a blocker for many.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I've been thinking about imposter syndrome for a while, and I think probably what it comes from, or definitely something that's related to it, is the fact that as girls we're brought up to make sure that everyone else is okay, and then kind of put ourselves last in general. And like boys are brought up to compete with each other, and I think that has both positive and negative effects on kind of everybody. And I think as a girl being brought up, I would never have asked anyone for anything like when I was younger, because to me that was a rude thing to do. I was brought up not to speak until I was spoken to. So, I've really had to kind of work hard on that myself over the years to change the way I think about things. So I think that, so we all get imposter syndrome at some point in our lives.
Do you still get it now?
No, I'm not sure that I've had it recently. Maybe think of someone, if like I met, I don't know, because I'd really love to meet the Obamas, right? So maybe if I met the Obamas, I might feel a bit of imposter syndrome. But, I would push on through it and just kind of put it behind me. It's kind of, to me, so realise that that's a thing that happens to lots of people, that it's probably the way you're brought up is making you feel like that, and just try and put it in a box and put it behind you, I think is what I try and do. So I encourage everyone who's not feeling so confident about getting out there, speaking to people, is just try it, and practice it and do it again and again. And like anything, so like I used to be petrified of public speaking, like I wouldn't sleep the night before, couldn't kind of even think straight to stand up in front of people, whereas now I absolutely love it. And it's because I've kind of gradually worked on it more and more and more over probably 20 years now. And so after 20 years, that might be a long time, but now that's what I look forward to in my life, is kind of public speaking, meeting new people. So the things that used to scare me the most and now the things that I love the most.
You faced your fear and you're
I guess
loving
so,
it now,
yeah.
which is wonderful and a great role model. I want to touch on you're from the London area and born and brought up in this region, and I know that you've been interim chair at the Women's Equality Party and are being stood as a candidate for the mayor in 2020 here in London. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah,
super exciting.
sure.
Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you. Well, I wasn't actually interim anything, but I am standing as Women's Equality Party candidate for Mayor of London. And so I joined the Women's Equality Party at the beginning when it set up. I was just like, I never thought about this, what a great idea. And I really see the role of the Women's Equality Party and kind of my role in terms of the mayoral campaign is that if we make life better for women, we make life better for everybody. And I kind of, I want to make life better for everybody. And coming from a background of disadvantage, of living in poverty for several years, ending up in a women's refuge, living in social housing, I know how the fact that I had those things has made a massive, massive difference to me. And then by making a difference to me, it's made a difference to my family and then everyone around me, because so many of the things that I've done over the last 20, 25 years, I wouldn't have been able to do if one of those things was missing. And also education, the fact that there was a place in a refuge for me as a young mother with no money. There was council housing that I could go to. I was able to go to university. I was kind of supported to go to university. These things all together can make a massive difference to people's lives. And, that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be talking about in my campaign. I think it's all going to kick off in a few months' time. I've actually got a meeting tonight, so that's exciting. But yeah, I'm really excited about making life better for women with the kind of longer term goal of making life better for everybody.
It's a wonderful ambition and also you've identified that someone's social background doesn't determine or limit their ambition or their ability. And certainly what you're advocating there is that if you enable people, give them the opportunity. I'm keen, you've got 4 children, 3 grandchildren. Any budding technologists amongst them?
Well, yes, I've got 4 children. So my oldest daughter works in technology at the Department for Transport, so she's a civil servant. My 2 sons, one's an economist and one works in finance, but they're both very good with technology. My younger daughter's 15. She's at school doing GCSE IT and unfortunately not enjoying that very much, which is a bit depressing. I think there's a lot we need to do around our school curriculum and technology, because to me technology is so exciting. It's changing the world in so many ways, and yet studying it at school doesn't seem like a great experience still. So there's work to be done there too. Yeah, and 4 grandchildren now. I can't even believe it saying it myself. It's amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. After 25 years, an amazing career and undoubtedly more to come. Sue Black, thank you so much.